Hey everyone, and welcome to Nerfcast. This is Shawn.
And this is Josh.
Alright.
Alright.
Okay.
Yeah.
Return of the Shawn.
No, he doesn't.
What it nerf, what it isn't, what it does, what it didn't. Hey, yeah. Josh's rage. He's just seething right now.
Seethe.
I think he's just mad that he can't, like, rap. He doesn't got flow like I got flow.
That's what it is.
Yes.
My inability to lay down the beats.
Like you gave a little speed to Great White Shark on Shark Week.
Rawr.
I'm so proud of you. All right, so let's get to it. So we're going to talk about a couple different subjects today that will be a surprise. Well, I'm not going to give you guys intros anymore to let you know what we're talking about.
We're just going to start talking.
We're just going to start talking.
And afterwards, we name the episode anyway, so you're going to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Or we're just going to be like, it's the surprise. Weekly goulash.
I feel like that's the last thing to be surprising because it's such a Russian-sounding dish that strikes up ideas of communism to me, which is food lines. And nobody's in a food line wondering, oh boy, I wonder what I'm going to get today. They're like, I'm just going to take what comes. I'm really hungry. Both in the circumstances of this joke and also I'm really hungry. I'm on a diet. So if I'm low energy today, it's because my blood sugar's low.
Yep. Shawn's withering away before my eyes.
I'm dying.
We should start talking about Nerf before all of our few listeners just leave. Like, these guys, they've jumped the shark. It's the end. No more listening to these
Auf
two.
Wiedersehen. That's German.
It's
probably not the right way to pronounce it either. Anywho, so one thing I actually wanted to talk about a little bit is we just had a game recently. It was one of our monthly games. Once again, we run monthly games, so if anyone here in the Bay Area wants to join up, you're more than welcome to.
If you're not in the Bay Area and you want to join up, come to the Bay Area.
Drive up, drive down.
We have people outside of the Bay Area come to games.
Yes.
So, you know.
You're more than welcome to join in.
Exactly.
Anywho, the game was really fun. This was our second time playing
the King of the Hill
game type.
Some people have gone from calling it King of the Hill to Territories to Game of Thrones because we use chairs to hold up the timers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we explained this a little bit last time. The way we play is we have 3 chairs set up at different points in the field that we play on. The positions are we try and balance it so when people are spawning back into the game, it's about equal distance for all the points for them to run to. Mm-hmm. Of course, one point is right dab center of the field, so everyone kind of rushes towards it, and that's where a lot of combat happens. But there's 2 auxiliary points you can run to, and kind of skirmishes will go into there as well. So that way, it's not all focused in one area. There's multiple areas in the field you're trying to attack, trying to assault, trying to defend. And personally, like I said, this is our second time actually playing it. I really enjoy this game type. It is very fun. It's very engaging. What I probably like about it most is I feel like constantly people are feeling useful. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, with Capture the Flag, that's one of the most common game types I see personally when you talk about tactical Nerf games because it's very easy and simple to play and set up. Mm-hmm. It feels a lot of times for a lot of the players that are slower, that are not as aggressive, is not as good of shots, that, hey, if you aren't that good, just stay on defense and try not to die. The fast, strong people will go get the flag, nab it, and then run out. And it's like, that's fantastic, our team won, but I feel like I didn't do much to contribute.
Right. With all the glory is lost sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
With King of the Hill, though, I feel like there's so much going on. You're either constantly assaulting, constantly defending. There's always fights going on key points, so it feels like everyone's involved all the time. Everyone feels very in the action. If you can't run very fast, you can kind of swap on defense to different areas so you're not just stuck in one area the whole time. If you are fast, then you just run around the field just shooting everyone as they pop up. It's like playing giant whack-a-mole.
Yeah, our Capture the Flag games are already... Anybody who has actually attended them can attest to the fact that they are really fast-paced. King of the Hill is even more fast-paced. It is really just a cluster of people flinging foam at each other.
A cluster fun.
A cluster foam. Yes. It's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of positive feedback from it. I know a couple podcasts ago we said that we were about to try it out, and we did. We've got feedback from people, from you guys. We're going to start working on more and more just solidifying all of the rules. A lot of things transferred over from Capture the Flag. Some things we just want to work on making, a little bit better, a little bit more stable. Like you start out, again, with Capture the Flag, we started out with just random objects as flags, and then we built flags. Sort of the same thing here. Like we have timers right now that we got for relatively cheap, and someone online and in our games have both mentioned chess timers. So that's something that we're going to test out and try out, and again, just to kind of try to build it up and add those little finishing touches that we feel really pulls the game together and everybody has a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But we are really happy with just the positive feedback from it. It's been a lot of fun for us and our players, especially if you have people that like to run. Because we have a player who likes running, and he's like, somehow you made a game type where I run more. I didn't know it was possible. But this is awesome. And then if you don't like to run, the points are still so contested all the time where you're getting action. Again, it's like Shawn said, you're not sitting back. And if you have a team that's raffle stomping the other one, you're not just sitting there like, well, that looks like fun. They're shooting each other, but I'm back here because the other team didn't have a chance to assault our flag. It's, well, I'm defending one of 3 points. And even if I'm defending that, there's still going to be people usually coming in and trying to get it.
Yeah, and it kind of balances itself out too, because think of it this way. In Capture a Flag, if all your team's assaulting and they want 1 or 2 people back on defense, then it's like, okay, they're doing such a good job on offense, no one's going to trickle through to me.
Right.
In this game mode, though, if you're just standing there and there's not much going on by you, the other team's going to notice and start assaulting that point instead then. So
Right.
You can't just fortify one area. Like,
Exactly.
Very much every point is crucial to the victory of the team.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, at least in the 2 games, we played a couple games where people assume certain sides were going to get certain points first. Didn't always happen.
Yep.
Because they were lax and kind of let another point go. That was it. That's all it took. They were too focused on going middle. Map control is a big part of it too. There are certain routes and lanes you want to go into, so you want to make sure you can capture those areas and keep them secure.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll help keep the other actual capture points locked down.
Yeah, I feel like it really gives you a lot of experience with different types of gameplay because there's so much going on at all times, and because it is a timed game. It's not like Capture the Flag where, okay, they got the flag, they ran it back, okay, that's the end of it. There's sort of a back and forth. You can have good Capture the Flag games, don't get me wrong. We've had a ton of them where it's a really good back and forth struggle, but King of the Hill lends itself to there constantly being that struggle, that back and forth, getting a point, taking it back, whereas in CTF, if you rush in and you get enough players down, you can usually go in for a capture and retrieve a flag, and that's the end of the game. So you can have really short games, really long games. With CTF, you are just constantly back and forth, attacking, defending, and, adjusting where you need defenses, adjusting what you're going to assault next, because there's so many different things going on at once. And it's a lot of fun. And so we're just really happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, it's hard because I want to just recommend everyone play it. The difficult part of that, of course, is with the alarms that I got. Of course, you can always find different deals and get different alarms. I could have gone a little bit cheaper, but because I wanted everything to be color-coded, have red and blue so it matches the team color so people clearly know which timers they're hitting. It cost me about $75 to get all the timers for all 3 points. So
Yeah.
it wasn't cheap for me. This was buying stuff on Amazon too. So the chess timers are going to be a little bit more expensive once we go that route. If you already have a bunch of digital timers around that you can use, like say you have like 50 million old digital watches you don't wear anymore because they're out of fashion, you can use those too. You can scavenge to go a little bit cheaper. It's a really fun game mode. It's just Josh and I like to take things to the next level.
Exactly.
So that's where you see the prices go up with that. You can make this game work for probably $30.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can go to the dollar store and probably, if you don't have digital timers, pick up digital timers for $1 or $2. You just have to be careful with however the digital timers have a reset button, or sometimes you have to press multiple buttons to reset them. Just be really clear with your players on resetting those, and then you pretty much need something for them to stand on. So we have chairs.
Yeah, the chairs we got a good deal on. They were at Target for $10, so I was really stoked about that.
Yeah, and they're just those foldable sort of camping chairs, and we took some Velcro wire ties and just tie them down to each of the handles, or the armrests rather, and, there's one for red, one for Team Blue, and then you go at it. Mm-hmm. I mean, we realize that not every Nerf game we bought bandanas, and we randomized the teams and then give everybody a bandana either red or blue for whatever team they're on. We know that everybody doesn't necessarily do that. If you're just a group of friends and you can know who's on your team, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We have new people coming that don't necessarily know other people there, so it's good to have that visual cue. That's why things cost us more, because we're doing all of that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you just have friends and you're just playing, go out, get some cheap digital timers, get a TV tray for one, get a chair for another, whatever you can to just put them on, and there you go. You're
Mm-hmm.
ready to go for very, very minimal. And if you have, like Shawn said, a bunch of watches sitting around, you could probably do it that way too.
Yeah, there's no need for the timers to all be strictly uniform. It just needs to be able to count up or count down.
Right.
Pretty simple.
Exactly.
The other thing I really liked about our game, which we once again introduced 2 games ago, just like with King of the Hill. I keep wanting to call it Game of Thrones because the chairs lend itself so perfectly to that.
They do.
It seems like it'd just be such a good fit, but we might change the name. I don't know. I'm liking King of the Hill. It's technically more like Domination from Call of Duty anyway.
Right, exactly. It's
but
not really King of the Hill.
See, once again, you find ways to bleed video game stuff into real life and make it awesome.
Yep.
But you have to be thorough about the rules and everything. Like, for the longest time, when Josh and I were talking about King of the Hill, it's something we've wanted to do for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But me, being the gamer I am, thinking like, okay, how do you claim domination over a certain area? If someone just runs in, how do you fix the timers and everything like that?
Right.
Simple solution was, okay, they have to hit a button.
There we go.
One person can just run in and disrupt if they want to.
Yep.
It's very easy.
Yeah, we talked about that for a long time, because I remember us playing TF2 and being like, oh, it'd be really cool if we could do this and capture points. And I was like, well, timers just work.
Yeah.
We were like sitting there like, we need a ref, though, to ref it and count out that. Like, no, just have a timer. That was so stupid and easy, but,
It's sometimes you can't see the tree through the forest. Like, it sounds complex, but sometimes easy works. Sometimes
Exactly.
easy doesn't work.
Yeah, and we recommend starting easy. Always start easy and then build up.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that everybody doesn't have funds and necessarily, though they might not even want to do it the way that we do it.
Yes.
So,
Any way you want it, that's the way you need it.
well said, Shawn. Well said.
Also, speaking of cheap and easy game types, the one that we've been doing the past 2 games is we've brought back the art of dueling.
Oh yeah, in a big way.
Jesus, like... So we talked about the hammer shot in the last episode.
Yep.
We love the hammer shot.
Hammer shot is awesome.
Like, if you remember the first couple of podcasts, my hate on the Maverick. It was baby's first blaster. Everyone got it because it was cheap. It's a revolver. People thought it was cool, but it worked bad. It was not good.
Yeah, I still don't like the Maverick.
Yeah. I still don't either. I'll
Yeah.
be honest with you. I'm still not a fan of it. I
Yep.
like the strong arm because it introduced slam fire. It's a tighter barrel. The distances are way better. It's
Yeah.
an overall vast improvement. The hammer shot, though, is revolver perfection. It feels like to me.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough toss up for me.
You really?
So here's the thing.
I'm telling BFU you said that,
I will always run the hammer shot over the strong arm.
but
But as far as recommending it to people, I feel that they're either going to like one, or they're going to lean towards one or the other, because you're going to want either A, that extra 6th shot, which to me isn't the big deal. The bigger thing is the slam fire, and it depends on how you play. So some people really might love being able to just draw that out, hold down the trigger, and just boom, crank out all 6 shots really, really quickly. Because I've seen at another game people that did some duels like that, and they would turn around and blah, 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 which was almost kind of lame because they were firing so quickly you just couldn't dodge.
Yeah.
It was just, all right, well, here's all the darts. Kind of went, bah. I like the hammer shot. I'm just saying.
yeah. I can
Yeah.
understand where you're coming from. If we're limiting it just to pistol selection,
Right.
that's where it gets trickier. I'm just talking straight up blaster suggestion again.
Oh, no, yeah, I
So
love
people would go in and get the Maverick because it was cheap and easy.
Right.
The hammer shot is $15. You can
Yep.
probably find it on sale some places too.
Yep.
Comes with cool green deco darts.
it. Like the green darts.
The orange on it is very nice. The detailing on it's very nice as well. It's the whole Zombie Strike line, so it's very sleek and nice looking.
Yep.
And the fact that you can prime it with one hand
It is amazing.
really what clinches it for me. Just being able to be like, click, bam, you're good. You have a blaster that's not motorized, that's not running on flywheels, that you can go akimbo with. You can run 2 of them and just rock them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's awesome. Like, the strong arm, don't get me wrong, it has edges over the hammer shot, no doubt. But in terms of a pistol, I feel like the hammer shot is serving that purpose the best.
I feel like I don't know why I would run anything else for a secondary,
Mm-hmm.
because, like you said, the single hand usability is something that you don't get from the strong arm. So yeah, you could drop your main blaster. If you don't have a sling, then now your blaster's in the dirt. You pull your strong arm and you have to, boom, with your second hand actually fire. With this, you can have it sitting there primed and ready to go. Take your first shot and then just keep going with your primary and your offhand, or vice versa, however you want to run it, and then you can address your jam or whatever is going on with your primary.
And plus, just being able to reload on the fly. This is something I've forgotten about, honestly. Because I'm so used to using magazines and the clip system. And I have a loadout that allows me to carry a lot of magazines on me.
Yep.
Like, at one point, I had set up that I could run 7 mags all at once. So I'm like, okay, that's more than enough ammo for anything. The problem is, in longer games, fast-paced games, but games that drag on a little bit, if you're shagging in the middle of the game, it's like, okay, this mag is half full, this one had 3 shots in it, this one's mostly full. You're sitting here reloading. The time it takes to reload an 18-round magazine, I've gotten it down. I can do it quickly. It just takes me a second to load a dart in. It's not a process by any means. But when you're doing 18 of them in the middle of a fight, that's taking you out of action for a long time and leaving you vulnerable for a long time, too. Someone comes by and your gun isn't loaded with another mag. It's like, oh, let me shuffle and go. Oh, no, it's not going in perfectly. Okay, it's in. Oh, that first dart was compressed weird because I was shoving it in too quickly. Yeah. You get these problems that I just don't want to deal with in the middle of a fight. And that's the purpose of a secondary. It's like, primary's not working, back up. Yeah. And you have this blaster that is open in the front. You can load darts into it really quickly. If you're on the field, it's like, I can scavenge, just pick up a dart, load them, back to full capacity. As long as you're on top of it and actively reloading, those 5 shots will last you. The only problem I see with that is you can't really do an assault with just a hammer shot, but that's not what it's meant for.
Right, exactly. It has its place, and it fills its niche perfectly. There's basically, I mean, the only thing that I can think of that is close to it is its sister. You know what I mean? It's the Sweet Revenge, which is the same, basically, blaster.
Yeah. It's just reshelled a little bit, but 5 shot, same priming mechanism on the back. Even comes with a holster, too. Yeah. I mean, the value on that, too. Like, the hammer shot for $15, buy a hammer shot. It's good. Get it. But the Sweet Revenge, too, is the fact that it comes with holster, it comes with iPro. That's like $250 for a holster, $250 for iPro, and the same blaster. Totally worth it, too.
Oh, agreed.
I mean, I bought one just so I can have one of each. I can be like Dante from Devil May Cry and have Ebony and Ivory, except it's undeadery and I'm so pretty.
Sure.
I'm sorry, people. I'm anemic. I'm so hungry. I'm so very hungry. But both are rock solid blasters. And even how I said they're not the greatest blaster for assaulting, I'm going to take that back. Last game, Josh's brother was running around with just a jolt. Yeah. One of the rounds, he killed 4 people within the first minute of the round, just going blink, reload, blink, reload, blink, reload. Yep. Just because he's so fast, he relies on his speed to like, okay, I can hold off for 2 seconds it takes me to load this dart and start doing it again.
Yeah, I mean, my brother's running around with triads and or jolts all game.
So there's no reason a hammer shot wouldn't be perfect for assaults too. It's just you have to be the type of player who's willing to reload really quickly and constantly be moving. Right. You do not get that second to stop and reload because then you're vulnerable. But if you can keep moving and reload on the fly.
And you got to be good at dodging. If you can't dodge darts, I mean, you're kind of in trouble because...
Yeah. That's true for a lot of Nerf, but especially with any blasters that are kind of like that non-clip system, can't be as...
If you've only got one shot to your name, you got to make it count, which means you're probably going to want to get close because you want to make sure that it hits. It's not like, I've got 18 rounds, I'll sit there and take pot shots from across the field and just get people kind of dancing like, oh, that went farther than I thought. Oh, look out. With those, you really have to get up close, so you have to be able to dodge, get up, take the shot, and then grab the flag or hit the timer or whatever you're doing.
It's a blaster that's most effective at flanking. Because I feel like at a range, it's very accurate, it's very clean. You don't have to worry about the dart feeding in weird because just load it right into the front and you're good to go. If you sneak up behind someone and are able to close that distance fast enough, you get 15 feet, you're done. Exactly. That's all it takes. It's a good blaster for flanking, while Alpha Trooper, as much as I love it, it's bigger, it's bulkier. Not every shot is going to be as quick to reload or be as accurate as, say, a regular pistol, like even fire strikes. Jolts, Sweet Revenges, hammer shots, all these are great for how quick they are to reload and just keep going. Just keep a dart pouch with you and you're set.
Yeah, don't underestimate front-loading blasters. I mean, that's definitely something that has its place on the field. So,
anywho, the part that started this whole conversation
Was the dueling.
was the dueling. The way we have this set up is we play on asphalt. We play in a park that has a school connected to it, so we'll kind of mix and match where we want to play. And we draw circles in the asphalt using just chalk. It washes off, so very friendly. There's plenty of chalk already drawn on there.
Yep.
And we draw circles, have people turn around on each side, and there's 2 ways we can do it. They're both using hammer shots. You just hold the blaster in front of you, go 3, 2, 1. On 1, you turn around. You take shots at each other. You can't leave the circle. The circle is about, 3 foot in diameter?
Yeah, it's basically like if you take a decent-sized step to the left, right, front, back. You know what I mean? It's no more than a step in any direction. So
yeah, it's enough for you that you can, like, duck, jump, and sidestep, but you can't just run out of the way and someone has to sit there and actually chase you down.
Right.
You're both basically looking each other dead in the eye and just having to read each other to duel.
Yeah.
And 5 shots is nice because, like, you know what? After 5 shots, if you weren't able to kill them and they're willing to hold back their shots, they get 5 shots at you now to shoot back.
Yep.
Or if they go simultaneously, then it's like, oh, it's always going on. Like, I can't stop to aim because darts are coming after me and I need to capitalize, and then you shoot back at you. It
seems simple, but it's a lot more complex and fun than you would imagine.
There's a lot of metaing to it, too, because you have to be like, which way is my opponent going to dodge? Where am I going to shoot towards? Mm-hmm. So you start getting these mind games where you're like, oh, I'm going to shoot, and then they don't shoot. Right. Or they point in a direction and quickly adjust.
Yeah.
There are lots of ways you can go at it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And then the other way, too, is if we have Sweet Revenges on hand, we have people put the holsters on their side. 1, 2, 3, draw, and then they have to.
Yeah, we don't do the turnaround. You actually stay facing each other. So, so there's kind of like the old school, like
dueling pistols.
Yes.
You have besmirched my honor, good sir.
Right, exactly.
Aaron Burr, I'm coming for you.
I was about to say Aaron Burr too. There's that kind of dueling, and then there's sort of Old West style dueling where you've got a holster and you're just both staring each other down, and then you quick draw. And they're both really fun, and you should try both of them if you have the means to do it.
Like, one of the things we've talked about, I don't know if we've talked about, Josh and I have talked about it off the podcast, but our games, the games are very active. You're going for a long time. So as soon as a round of capture a flag is over, people's butts are kicked. They are tired.
Yep.
We're out in the sun. We're trying to hydrate, but we still need breaks in between. So people go to their benches, go to our staging area, relax, sit down, cool off. The problem is other players like, okay, I'm ready for more. We need to get going.
Right.
So it's very hard because I want these people to rest, relax, make sure they're getting fed properly. The other people, I want to make sure they're having fun and getting the most out of their day, too.
Exactly.
So dueling was a great blend between these two. Because the people who want to keep playing, it's like, cool, go to the dueling area and just duel each other and take turns and keep going back and forth. They get to expend their energy and they get to have fun. The people who are resting can take their time, no pressure, and then when they're ready to go again, congratulations. The other people have been playing the whole time, so there's no rush. You're fully rested. You can go for longer maybe in the next game.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun little things you can do in between rounds that we're sort of seeing and finding out ways to fill that time for the people that are sort of antsy and want to get going. I mean, we had Chris brought boffers one time, and people were boffing each other. Boffers, for those of you who don't know, are basically like Nerf swords. They were foam swords that are used in like SCA and LARPing, and there's various things that they're used for.
Think foam bat.
Yeah. People generally make them themselves, but I mean, if you have foam swords, whether or not you allow them at your games, we don't allow them in our games, but if you bring them and people want to have little fencing duels or just beat each other with them, more power to them. People were having tons of fun doing that. People were having fun doing duels. You can set something up and get like sticky darts and have people shoot at targets. You would think that that's really boring, but it's actually more fun when people start challenging each other and getting further and further away, and you have to adjust like upwards for distance and let sort of things fall into the target. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they initially look at it, they're like, oh, hit a target from like 15 feet away? That's not hard. It's like, hey, remember this is a Nerf blaster.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to calibrate for a certain amount of skill to make sure that you're aiming in the right area, you're arcing the shot enough. It's not straightforward like it is at a shooting range.
Yeah, not at all.
Like, last night we were playing, and I was like, everyone was like, when we look at certain shots, we're like, the grouping was really good on that.
Yeah.
Which, it doesn't matter if it's close to the target or not. It's like, you managed to get 5 shots all right next to each other.
Yeah.
That implies that you have some level of aim, control, and able to keep a steady hand.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
But those side games are very fun. The other thing I've been noticing too is our players have been interacting more. We have a lot of new players. I feel like last game we had 6 new players come.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was at least 6. It might be more than
that.
that.
It might have been more.
But we had 6 players come to our game, and at least 2 of them, if not 4 of them, were completely new to Nerf. They had never played before.
Yeah.
So for them, it was kind of nice because some of the veteran players like, hey, I'm using this blaster. And the new ones would be like, oh, cool, I've never seen that before. And they would share, let them borrow, try it out, see if they liked it or not. It's something that if you're running wars, it's kind of a great way. No, it's not kind of. It is a great way to get people to interact with each other well.
Oh, definitely.
Because that way new players feel involved. The veteran players kind of get to show off a little bit and make sure that the new players coming in know what to do. They'll cop the speed faster because playing with a bunch of newbies can be difficult at times.
Yeah.
But people learn quickly. I mean, we've been playing video games our entire life. Most of us have. Josh hasn't.
Yeah,
he grew up on NES games.
Woohoo!
Which are good.
And hard to beat.
Until they add voice acting to them.
Thanks, DuckTales.
Woo.
But, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I think that, the games are fun. They're a good way, especially for those new players that are like sort of nervous about the game. Well, here you can practice doing some duels and shooting, get used to the blaster that you're going to be using, and then when you go on field, you're going to be a little bit more comfortable playing with things. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think honestly one of the most rewarding things I've found about running Nerf wars in general has been when you go onto Facebook and we have a photographer at our games who takes awesome pictures. She takes pictures, we put them up on the website, and we always link to them. But it's really seeing all the people who had signed up for the game and people who have, we will go log on to the Facebook page, and they see the pictures and they change their profile picture. It's so awesome having a bunch of people just have pictures like, oh, that's from our game. They have a Nerf blaster in their picture.
It's great because people get juiced about it.
Yeah.
And it kind of creates this new circle of friends, too. We try and be very welcoming at our games.
Yeah.
I always go around when I see a new person, I ask their name, introduce them. Throughout the game, I was like, hey, you having fun? Everything working okay? How you liking your blaster? But Josh was 100% right. At the end of the day, when we go home, our photographer uploads the photos and we look at them, people look at us like, oh, I remember that moment. Oh, that was awesome.
Right.
And they get all stoked about it. It's like, I feel like such a badass in this photo.
Right.
This has to represent me on the internet.
Exactly.
This is what I want people to see when they look at me.
Yeah.
And also because it ties it to a memory. Every time you log into Facebook, you're going to see up in the upper left-hand corner, remember how much fun I had that one day?
Yeah.
It was good old times.
I mean, it's like going to an amusement park and, you take some pictures there, and for a while that's your Facebook profile picture. And it's cool because it's not always people who are necessarily into Nerf as much as we are, or people in the NIC. Like, they would have had no reason to have a Nerf blaster in a Facebook photo before this event, and they just sort of came out to see what it was about and didn't have high expectations, and then suddenly, boom, their Facebook profile picture is that's now a significant event in their life. That's something they did, like, oh, remember that summer we went to Great America and did this thing? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, now it's, well, remember we went to that Nerf game? Oh, we should go back. They have one every month. Oh, let's do that.
And let's clarify something real quick, too. We are very fortunate to have our photographer.
Oh, for sure.
She does a fantastic job. Always gets shots of, I feel like she tries to get shots of everyone.
Yeah, sometimes we're lucky we have multiple photographers. So, I mean, every time anyone's taking picture or video, it's like we're super fortunate to have that at our events.
Mm-hmm.
And they always do good.
Yeah, like the last event, we had over 400 photos.
Yeah.
And I would say a good 95% of them were solid photos of people. Like, very little, like, motion blur and, like, oh, I caught it at the wrong time.
That's the other thing. We get photographers that do take photos during the game.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, let's take pictures of the people before, because, and then we're all going to play. There are a lot of really cool action shots, and that's why I think people put them as their profile pictures, because they're jumping or firing at someone or dodging, and it's really cool and engaging for them.
And that's something about pictures, too, honestly, that a lot of people take video because it's nice and easy. You just strap on a GoPro onto your blaster, onto your forehead, onto your body, and capture a lot of the images, and that's always fantastic. It's great seeing the combat in action. But to me, there's just something about a still photo that just invokes not necessarily the facts of the situation, but the memory of the situation.
Oh, yeah.
For example, there's one moment at actually, it wasn't even the end of the day, the end of the round for King of the Hill, where I was the timekeeper, but everyone had access if they had a watch. They knew what time the game was ending at. I pull out my phone, see there's 1 minute left. I drop my blaster to the ground, and I wave down a bunch of people, hey, look at me, come over here. I'll defend you barehanded. And I was doing like this. I was trying to do like a Street Fighter, like I'm bouncing and my hands are bouncing. I'm getting ready to fight and punch. And everyone's just looking at me. I was like, what is he doing? And I'm like, nah, it doesn't matter. Nobody's figured it out yet. And then minute runs up, I blow my whistle. Oh, game's over, guys. I guess you should have gone for the point instead of looking at me.
I remember because we were on the same team, and I was like, oh, there's a minute. There's like only a couple minutes left. And I tried to get as many people as I could just to leave all of our defenses open. But they had a really secured 1 point and just rushed them. And they were just like, what's going on? There's a ton of people. And I mean, they wiped out all of us because they had really good defenses.
Yeah.
And they had a Hellfire over there just mowed us all down. But it was just kind of like, what? Ah!
And this is what's great about the photos. Because if you had video of me, I would watch it and be like, that looks nothing how it looked in my head.
Exactly.
Like one person's like, Shawn, were you trying to fire an invisible blaster? You look like a kitty with your hands in front of you. Why were you doing that? But when I look at the picture, I'm like, yeah, you caught me mid-bounce. That's why it looks a little awkward, but it's exactly as I remember it. Or other moments, too, like in the middle of the game, Josh, you've seen pictures of Josh. There's this bridge area that like the taller people can kind of like lean over and shoot people on the other side. Oh, yeah. So I'm in the middle of the field, and all I see is Josh's head and a blaster firing over it. And my first thought is, oh, Josh is jumping up there to get those shots. Then, like, 2 minutes later, I'm like, Josh, are you standing on someone? You've been up there for, like, 5 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he just looks back at me with this big old grin and doesn't even answer back. It's like, I'm doing it, Shawn. I'm getting the shots off. I know how you live in your world now. It's glorious. It's so good. I can show you the world. God, but it was, once again, there's a shot of just Josh from behind, which is perfect because from my angle, if I was videotaping it, like I just see Josh's head. This kind of person, you can see the foot dangling, like the foot of dead space between Josh and the ground as he's hanging there, just shooting at people.
That was so fun.
He's so happy.
It was so good.
You got a couple people doing that too, right?
Oh, yeah. I was doing that all game. But I think what makes it more engaging than video is that people like you and me, and people that are really into Nerf, will watch the video because they want to see how things were played, what people did, etc., etc. And, I mean, we're fortunate enough to have some people that have put together highlight reels and stuff for our games. So they got all the action shots. I mean, we had a few times people that were dedicated to doing video. It wasn't just GoPro stuff. It was like, let's take video of high action moments. But when you have just GoPro stuff, it's cool and it's great to evaluate and it's great to go back and look at it and be like, oh, I remember when that happened. But you got to sift through a lot of footage. And if you just leave it all out there completely raw, there's probably going to be a lot of dull moments. Like, I get shot a lot. I go back to respawn point a lot, and I'm sure that'd be really boring to watch on video.
Fun fact, a lot of the shots of me are actually with my blaster in the air because I just died.
Exactly.
Because I'm sneaking around the side, so most of the time with the shot of me, it's like, why is this blaster always in the air? I'm always dead.
But, I mean, there's just a lot of back and forth, and there will be shots like, oh, I took a shot and, oh, that looked really cool because I hit somebody. But then that moment's over and then I'm moving and there's a lot of shaky camera. And like I said, for some people that's really entertaining, but there's just a picture that a complete third party took of two people going at each other or something interesting happening. There's just a lot of sort of, like you said, memories that are wrapped up in it. It looks really cool. It's something that you can share by making it your Facebook profile picture. Whereas video, it's cool. You put it up, people watch it once, and then they pretty much forget it. They'll see that picture every time they log onto Facebook. Their friends will see that picture every time they look at them or they comment on something. So it's really fun and engaging, and we're really fortunate to have that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that really worked out for us is our games have been growing. When we first got started, I think we only had not the very first one, because that was more of like a barbecue with friends that we all brought blasters to.
Right.
But the first, I would say, official burn games.
Right.
The ones that were kind of open to the public. Those ones started off as like 12, maybe 14 people.
Yeah,
they weren't huge games by any means, but time goes on and you get one or two people here that are interested.
Oh, yeah.
This is my advice to anyone running an event. Make sure you engage every single new player. Because at one point or another, we're all new players. And I remember I went to Amgard, I think it's called.
Yeah.
It's one of the things with the boppers where you're basically, it's like medieval combat.
Mm-hmm.
And as a new player, I walked in, I'm like, what weapon do I use? And someone handed me a weapon, which was nice of them. But the entire time I'm sitting here getting hit over and over and over again. And I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those people where if I'm not good at something right away, it kind of bums me out. Luckily, as I've gotten older, I've learned to overcome that. But initially, I'm like, oh, this isn't as fun. And, of course, my friend who brought me there was willing to give me tips and help me out. But everyone else there, I just felt like they either saw me as easy prey or were getting annoyed that I was there because they weren't getting a good combat out of me. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, of course I don't know what I'm doing. This is my first time doing this, and you've probably been doing this for years.
Right.
New players for Nerf probably have that same feeling. They walk in. Imagine you're someone coming to our games, Josh, where it's just here's like 30 people all decked out. They got like army equipment on.
Yeah.
This dude's got a camera strapped to his chest. This other dude is holding 2 giant rapid strikes and just going wailing with them.
Yeah.
Is that a bow and arrow? That just shot like 125 feet.
And they've got like...
Oh, I got a Maverick.
I was going to say Maverick.
That's why the first thing I always try and do is when I see these people, I walk up, I introduce myself, I let them know what's going on, where everything is.
Yeah.
I check in the middle of the game. Have that urgency to make sure their first time is enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because you never know where these talented people are going to come from.
Oh, for sure.
Like, obviously, our photographer we've known for years. We know she's talented, so we're very fortunate to have her. But, for example, our friend Chris, he's really into filming and has actually done videos for YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
If you get a chance, his blog is Jangular. He posts sometimes in the Nerf Reddit, too, so you'll see him. Does a fantastic job doing videos, and he was just a random person that showed up one day to Nerf.
Yeah.
And we're really lucky that he's very talented, but at the same time, you never know where talent will come from. So embrace every new player. Yeah. Cherish them, because you never know who's going to become the new regular, where friendships are going to come from.
Oh, definitely. We've had so many people we've met through doing this and through just Nerf in general.
I've even had some friendships where I was friends with people before, but just it grew stronger because all of a sudden we have this activity we just bond over now.
Exactly.
Which it's like, hey, I've known you for years, but I feel like now I know you.
Right.
Yeah.
Like now we have something that's way more in common that we talk about, and then having Facebook pages and stuff like that where people can talk to each other. Hey, I'm looking for more of these. Did you find this? Does anyone have any of this for sale? Oh, I want to pick up this blaster. It's fun. It's engaging for all of your players and people, and it gives them a place to come together and just talk about something that they may not have been passionate about, but they may grow into, having more and more interest in this.
Definitely. So. And a big part of that, too, is we're fortunate that we have a lot of good players because our community, I feel, is very nice and open.
Exactly.
I see players, like I said, willing to lend out their blasters, let people test them out. Last game, we have a friend, Chris, who, when he was first playing, he's an archer. He's been doing archery for years.
Yep.
And I bought all his, he bought Zing bows and bought a bunch of arrows, and I bought him off him in the end because he wasn't playing as much. And so now when a new player showed up, and I saw him messing around with his Zing bow, and I saw he would do like one shot, then he'd go back to using just a regular blaster. And I'm like, well, if you have the Zing bow, why aren't you using that? It's like, oh, I only have 2 arrows. I'm like, okay, here's 30. Go to town.
Exactly. He was having fun with that, too.
Everyone has fun with it, but he was good with them.
He was hitting people.
Like, midway through the game, like, how are they doing for you? Kind of expecting, like, oh, not as good as I thought. And he's like, no, I got 3 kills already. And I'm like, really? That's like a daily best for our Nerf wars.
That's true.
I see a lot of people all day just going shoot, and not getting a single hit.
Right.
Which, honestly, it still works out pretty well because it's still constant suppression and people aren't going to want to mess with a person with a bow.
Right.
But he put in work with it, and I would have had no idea if I didn't lend him those bows. And hopefully he had a good enough time where he's like, I want to come back, or I want to invest. I know what I want to invest in for Nerf. I know how to make this fun for me.
Right. I mean, definitely try to help people find what they're good at. Help them find their niche. If they see something and they want to try it out and you have that blaster or know the person who's like, hey, they were really talking about, the rapid strike. Can they take a look at it? Or, talk to those vets and make sure that your vets are, try to see if they're nice people. Hopefully your veterans will be willing to help grow the community and grow the sport so that they'll be like, well, yeah, of course, here, try this out, see if you like it. That way they can leave with their Maverick and come back next time equipped with something that is maybe more well suited to what they want to do. and play the way that they want to play so that they have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we always, when people come up, we go, hey, thanks for coming. How'd you hear about us? This and that. We try to do a variety of things. We do different game types throughout the day so they can see, again, what they really enjoy. And then when they leave, we always thank them for showing up and all that jazz. It's being friendly and welcoming to people.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. And I know a lot of people listening at home I know there are people out there who try and run their own Nerf wars, and it's a struggle. I was very fortunate to have Josh's support, and he had my support. Josh is the one who got me in the Nerf. I've mentioned it a bunch of times. So
I got everybody in the Nerf that I know.
If he wasn't this caring person who was like, Shawn, we're going to take you to Target, get you the right blaster. I'm going to let you know what all the blasters do so you don't feel like I'm just tunneling you down into one path. And then I got hooked onto it, and then I'm like, let's start doing Nerf wars, and both of us use the buddy system. We rely on each other to have these wars and operate them.
Yeah, never. If you have people that you think might be into Nerf, but you can't really get them to do Nerf, disguise it. That's the way to do it. So have a barbecue.
I hear the voice
birthday,
of BFU coming out of you right now.
Or have a costume party. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Have a party that involves Nerf so people can kind of just mess around and have sort of just general fun. Don't be like super hardcore about it if you can't find people in your area. Mm-hmm. Just be like, yeah, let's just get a bunch of friends together and have, like I said, a birthday party. Have people dress up in costumes if they want. I mean, that's what, like I said, when I got Shawn into it, we were going to a friend's birthday party who was mildly into Nerf. Me and this other friend had talked about it before. Mm-hmm. We both had Nerf blasters. And I was like, oh, Shawn doesn't have a Nerf blaster. Let's go get him one. Shawn, one of our other friends, went with us. We went to Target. We're like, let's show. It's a birthday party. We got him some presents. We decided we were going to show up. I think we've told the story before, like in masks. We have. So we got Shawn got a Captain America mask, and shield, and I got a Wolverine one. Our friend got a Thor stuff, and we had these blasters. So it was just like, it was stupid fun. But then it was like, you know what? Like by the end of the day, we had taken off all of the masks and stuff, and we were just running around with Nerf, and we all had a really good time. And we were just fortunate to find there were enough people that sort of liked it to start building on that. Mm-hmm. And then it became like, let's barbecue and have a Nerf war. Let's do this and have a Nerf war. And then it finally just became, there are enough people just interested in playing Nerf to just play Nerf wars.
It's a term called frog cooking. You got to get people in the pot.
Yeah.
And not necessarily say, here, we're playing Nerf. It's like, here, we're here doing this thing.
Right.
Oh, hey, we're doing this thing, and here's some Nerf blasters.
Yeah.
Oh, this could be a fun little diversion. Hey, we should really try and focus on, like, the Nerf game. And then finally it's like, oh, we have a Nerf war.
Right.
And I feel like that's a problem a lot of people have when they're running Nerf wars across the NIC. It's, you want to go in and, like, this is no disrespect to the NIC, by the way, but it's kind of like you want to just go on posting, like, there's a Nerf war. There's got to be enough people into Nerf in my area because I live in a big area. Like, we live in the Bay Area. There's a huge population here, but you can live in, like, Dallas, Texas, Chicago.
Yeah.
There are all these big hubs across the United States and across the world, too. Obviously, huge scene in Germany, Australia, Singapore.
Oh, yeah.
But what I've seen work is honestly just introducing people subtly and then slowly bringing them in. And once you get to a big enough size, like I feel like Josh and I are finally in a zone where we can focus on just the Nerf wars.
Right.
The players will start coming naturally. And as long as you're ensuring you're having a good game, you have a good community, it's all cake from there. But building up that community, the best way to do it, like Josh said, that worked with us, friends.
Yeah.
Friends with similar interests. If you know one or two people who's into Nerf, buddy up with them. Try and get your other friends into it. We had enough blasters to loan out to everyone. It's expensive, but I know people out there who are into Nerf as much as we're into Nerf.
Oh, definitely.
You got enough spare blasters to give everyone at least one thing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, think about how you've gotten friends into other things, into other movies or games. I really like board games because it's like, how many times have you been like, I have a board game and I want everybody to play this board game because I played it at my friend's house and I had a lot of fun, and now I got it. Well, all right, let's have everybody over and we're going to have dinner and like do some board games. Oh, that one was really fun. And then you can just ask people, hey, do you want to come over and play that board game? Whereas before we were like, they're like, maybe, I don't really know. I don't know if I want to learn a new game. Oh, well, dinner and this, and it's kind of like a party thing. And you just have it as something that you're doing there.
By the way, have the common knowledge and ability to recognize if people aren't getting into it.
Yeah.
Don't force them.
Yeah.
We had plenty of our players who would like, they were friends, so they wanted to support us initially, but they'd show up in sandals. They wouldn't like actually pay attention to the rules.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I don't want to force you to do something that isn't fun.
Exactly.
Like, I think this is fun enough where everyone should want to come play, but everyone has different hobbies and interests.
Totally.
So by all means, after a certain point, if you aren't enjoying it, you don't have to keep coming.
Yeah. Don't try to
Don't
force
all your friends to be like, you will support me or you're not my friend.
Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, don't be like that. But if you present it in a nice enough way, in a fun enough way, and grow the community slowly, then hey, you have a network of friends who's growing out who is looking at a new player. I'm like, oh, this could be another nice person.
Right.
It's homegrown, and it works very well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the difficulty I see, like, for example, if you live in a place without a big population, here's a good example. In San Francisco, there are some big games that go on there. But because we're talking like 80 plus people, these are huge games in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
Quality control gets really hard at that point.
Oh, for sure.
So as a new player, if I walked into like one of these huge San Francisco games, don't get me wrong, I love them. I try and go to as many as possible. Mm-hmm. As a new player, it's extremely intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're looking, it's like, there's so many people here. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. And I don't know what's right and wrong. A small group of friends that can kind of bring you into the fold and teach you, that's awesome. I love that.
Oh, definitely. It makes it a very warm, welcoming environment. You know people, so you don't feel too out. And then when new people come in, you just have to have that same sort of welcoming attitude as if you're just like, yeah, thank you for coming. Oh, so I hope you know. And then we do stuff like we do the roundtable discussions. You don't necessarily have to have them at a roundtable pizza like we tend to do. I mean, have some food or just get together and be like, hey, we want feedback. We want to know what you like, didn't like.
Roundtable, sponsor us. I feel like we mention you every show.
That's probably true.
Give us some money.
But,
I want some pizza.
See what people enjoy, what they don't like.
I'm so hungry.
So, some people just like getting together and doing team deathmatch, you know? Or some people might like doing wingman. And we've talked about game types like that where our group, we don't play that way.
Yeah.
We play it more
Homie
like...
don't play that.
We play it more like a sport. That's how we look at Nerf. Like, it's a sport, so we have to have rules where everyone can continue playing at all times. So you have to have a game that has a respawn point.
That can accommodate 2 big teams or multiple big teams.
Exactly. You don't have to play that way. If you've got, 10 people or less, play wingman, play team death, whatever you guys have fun doing. You know what I mean? It's just... Find out what your player base enjoys and what is fun for them so you can continue to grow it.
And tying it back in, those players will start recognizing all the work you put into it, and they give back. I mean, that's the biggest thing that's worked for us. We have players who come up and like say, hey, we know you're doing the raffle today. I bought a blaster that you can give away.
Yeah.
And other players where they win the raffle and they're like, this is an Alpha Trooper. Who here hasn't been here before? Okay, here's a free Alpha Trooper.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of mind-boggling how nice everyone is.
It is really cool.
And then you get people like we mentioned our buddy Chris, who has all this nice, sophisticated camera equipment, and will take some of the footage from like GoPros and POV cameras and edit them all together for us.
Yeah.
And it's just embrace every new player because you never know where this talent is going to come from.
Yeah.
This is just advice for life, honestly. Network as much as you can. And don't take advantage of people, but give your services just as much as they want to give theirs. Like, always have that reciprocation. I think people recognize the work we put into the wars, and they just say, I want to give back.
Oh,
and that's what's really nice about them. And if they're listening right now and it's like, no, Shawn, we feel guilty, then I'm like, I don't care. It works for me, too. If I have mastered guilt, my Catholic upbringing would be proud.
There you go, buddy.
I was not raised Catholic.
You wasn't at all.
My mother was raised Catholic.
There you go.
I'm not going to go into religion stories.
Nope, not at all.
All I know is guilt works.
Guilt works.
But if you're blunt about it, it doesn't work so good. Then people catch on and just like, no, screw you. Be nice.
Be nice. That is really what Nerf is about. Be nice. I think the other thing, and I was going to mention this earlier, but I don't remember. We started going off on a different tangent.
I was talking about pizza for a minute.
Was
that might be it.
If you are going to start Nerf Wars, we highly suggest making it accessible to new players. If you don't have people that are already playing, if you're already going out to games and you make a bunch of Steffens and you have a whole community that's cool. You've got a community already. If you're going to start hosting games and you can invite those people and they show up, awesome. You already have a pool from which to start grabbing people from. If you are starting from scratch even if you already have started modding a lot of your blasters and you're using Steffens, really consider that people that are new that might not be into this are going to feel way outclassed compared to you using, rocking hot glue domes. And if they go buy something off the shelf, they're not going to be able to necessarily compete with you. And they're going to be very intimidated, and that might put a lot of people off. So I'm not preaching against, the NIC or against, Steffens or anything like that. I think they're awesome, and you guys do your thing. The reason we don't play that way is just so that it's very accessible to new people. They can go to Toys R Us or Target or Walmart or wherever and buy a blaster, and they can come on the field and play, and they're getting the same ranges pretty much that most people are.
God, that's why I loved the Elite range originally. When we first started playing, it was before Elite came out.
Right.
So Nerf was a little poopy.
And back then, even if you put an Orange ModWorks kit into your blaster or upgraded the springs in any way, even little modifications made things so much drastically better than what you could go buy in stores.
Yeah, so players would walk up, like, for example, Josh's brother. There's this one time that we always talk about.
Yeah.
Because whenever we're talking about the change from non-elite to elite,
right,
where he had a guy dead to rights about 15 feet away.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the old ranges, you're supposed to hit at that range. Shot, missed.
Yeah.
I think it might have hit the ground before it even got all the way to him.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And it's really like, what he said to me, and I think he said to Josh right after, I was like, if I had a modified blaster, I would have gotten that hit.
Yeah, I mean, it was close enough to where if we allowed swords, he could have just taken one step forward and tapped him pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like that close, and these blasters aren't hitting that. So, again, beauty of Elite ranges is that you have that experience where you're firing on each other, but there's enough distance to where you can be hiding behind something and doing it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be, like, walking up to each other like, nah, I'm going to shoot you as soon as I'm within 5 feet. The range is good enough, and to me, it's more everyone feels like they start on equal ground. Right.
Even if someone comes in with a modified blaster, like a modified elite blaster, it's kind of like, oh, cool, you get extra 10, 15 feet. I can still shoot you from a reasonable distance, so I don't mind as much.
Right, or I can put some more arc on it and, get that distance.
Yeah, there are a bunch of ways you can adjust to that difference, because when you get bigger numbers, a matter of 5-10 feet isn't going to matter as much.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before, too.
If you want premium performance, then by all means, go for the best you can, but you can work around it, and that makes it noob-friendly. And plus, you're looking at blasters, too, that are stuff you can recognize in the store. So if someone sees someone doing really good, instead of being like, oh, that's because he has a snap bow, oh, I don't know how to make that, and I don't think I know anyone who will make it for me, so I guess I can't be that good. See, another dude is like, oh, that's a rapid strike? Oh, yeah, I saw that for $40 at Target. I'm just going to pick up one of those next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy and accessible to everyone. There's no prior knowledge needed. It's noob-friendly.
Noob-friendly. That's really something that we would suggest if you are going to start running games, because it's easy. You don't have to worry about people getting hurt as much. I mean, still wear iPro, but I know with some Steffens and higher powered blasters, you can really start to do damage. I'm not saying you can't single a Titan and use a Tagger dart with Velcro on it and, point blank someone in the skin. Yeah, you're going to break their skin still, even though it's a stock dart because you've modified the blaster. But for the most part, you're not going to put a spring that is so powerful in the Retaliator that you're able to shoot someone from, past 20 feet and damage them in any way.
Now, what you could do is put a strong spring inside of a Triad.
And break the Triad.
That's what Josh did.
Hey, it worked for games and games and games. I did that last year.
Oh, is that one?
It's the one that I've had for forever. It just finally broke.
Okay.
I knew it was going to break. I always did. I'm actually surprised it lasted this long. We'll see about the Night Finder that I put the Recon spring in.
You mean the Retaliator spring?
Or yeah, I'm sorry, the Retaliator spring. Wait, yeah, Retaliator spring.
Yeah.
The replacement spring from SG Nerf. I put that in it.
Yes. It's funny because Josh and I used to mod, and now with the Elite series, just swapping out guns, it's just easier to run it stock.
Yeah, I run my Alpha
I don't have to
Trooper
worry
stock.
about problems.
I run my Hammer Strike.
Hammer
stock.
shot.
Strike.
See, I almost struck you with a hammer shot.
Yes,
So maybe that's what
you
you're
did.
thinking of. Once again, another thing that I wish we got a picture of, but basically, Josh and I were shooting each other, and I had a hammer strike, and he had
Hammer shot.
See, now you got me messing up. God dang it. I had a hammer shot.
Yep.
And did you have a hammer shot too?
Possibly.
It was either that or Alpha Trooper, and I was out of shots.
Right.
I was about 3 feet away from Josh at this point. So I take 2 steps forward, jump in the air, and start screaming with my hammer shot overhead like I'm just going to smack him and melee him. And then I just drop down. And I'm like, yeah, I'm out of ammo. And then he shoots me.
He put the hammer in the hammer shot. Oh, I remember exactly when this was. Yeah.
Yep.
It was funny because I killed like you and then my brother right after that. And I killed Kyle or someone before that.
Most
I think.
likely.
I don't remember. I just remember I kept trying to hit you, and we just kept missing each other, and I realized you had like 1 shot left, and when it missed, you were like, "Meh!" You were going to hammer me with the hammer shot.
Sometimes people, the threat of a gun is better than the gun itself. So, like I said, I will do crazy stuff in the middle of the games to try and distract people and keep their eyes on me.
You were doing a good job, because it took me a second to realize suddenly, like, wait, you're out of ammo.
I like that that's the thought that came first, not that Shawn isn't going to hit me. Just, he's out of ammo.
Yeah, because I was like, well, this is my opportunity to charge him if he's out of ammo.
Because Josh is smart. Any other player, I feel like, would have cowered a little bit or backed off or flinched. I mean, obviously, there's nothing I could capitalize upon that, but it's just fun.
It was.
I do that a lot where, like, this game, too, another good example. We were playing Capture Flag at the end of the day, and I ran into the enemy base, got behind a tree.
Yes.
There was 5 people on top of their flag, all looking at me and like, how do we get him?
He's behind the tree.
And I'm sitting here being like, one person goes on the left and one person goes on the right. I don't say that, mind you. Yeah. But every once in a while, one of the players would just run up and charge me, and I'm like, blop, I got you. Another player would start coming around the right slowly. I'm like, cool, I'm going to go around this way slowly and just creep around the tree. At one point, I even yelled, I played WoW. I know how to pillar hump. I've done PvP. I keep breaking line of sight. This is how this works. And I lasted there for 9 minutes.
Yeah, you were there for a long time. I remember coming back like, no one's killed him yet?
And like, I was waiting for my team to rush in. Like, okay, all I need is like 2 people and we could capitalize on this. And they never came.
I know what that's like, buddy.
Yep.
It's okay.
That last game was really good.
I
was really happy about that last game.
Yeah, we lost. And when I say we, I don't mean Shawn was on the opposite team, but my team lost, but it was still a lot of fun because we put up a good fight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, another thing about new players that Josh and I always do at the beginning of the day, if we're doing Capture Flag, any team-based game,
yes.
Josh and I are always on opposite teams.
Yeah, we always start off the day at opposite teams, and we'll run our first, best 3 out of 5 game of Capture the Flag with us on opposite teams so that we can help anybody that's new on the team or any confusions that there are. By the end of the day, we'll just start making it completely random so that we can play together if it's in the cards, because we deal out deck of cards, and if it's red,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Other thing, since you mentioned that's something we do. Other thing is, even when we have old players there, we always do a field walkthrough.
Yeah.
I don't think we have not gone a game yet where we haven't done that. And it's just to let new players know easily where the respawn points are. Because our field it's not giant, but it's not super tiny to where from where we're setting up you can see all the respawn points. Yeah. There's buildings and things in the way. So we walk them through.
Show them points of interest. Like, okay, here's where the respawn point is for Capture Flag. Here's the respawn point for King of the Hill. Here's one of the points for King of the Hill. Here's the flag for Capture the Flag. This is how you remove it. Oh, look, there's ice in the bucket. If you buy drinks, you can put them in the ice.
Yeah.
Like, all these little details that a new player wouldn't know at all. And obviously, like I said, we have a very open, welcoming community. The stuff doesn't really come top of head when it comes to everything we do with Nerf. Josh and I have gotten very good at explaining everything because we go through it every single game.
Right.
But with veteran players, like, why should they mention there's ice in the bucket? If they're not using it at all, then why would they remember that? While another player's like, oh, where do I put my water? Oh, it's so hot. Oh, it tastes like sand. Why does the water taste like sand?
But yeah.
Oh, it's hot. Milk was a bad choice.
Milk was the right choice. It's always the right choice.
Yep.
Yeah, so, consider doing a field walkthrough. Even if you have 1 or 2 new players, just be like, hey, can we get everybody together? We're going to go through the field, show you where the boundaries are. And also go over the rules as well. Always go over the rules because new players, like I said, as obvious as it might seem, we went to a game and we had people be like, okay, yeah, blah, 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 on 3:15. And we're like, well, wait. How do we respawn? Where do we respawn? What's the respawn time? They're like, 3:15. We're like, yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's a 45?
Yeah, I was like,
what are we doing 45 of? And then it's like, oh, yeah, it's count to 15. and you get 3 lives. I'm like, how do I know how many lives the other person has? You ask them. It's like, are they obligated to tell me? No. Okay, where do I respawn? Oh, just wherever people aren't. And I'm like, this is ripe for abuse.
Yeah. And I mean, I know a lot of people don't have that, like, don't be a dick rule, or, don't be a nice guy, don't do this, but...
Josh just said don't be a nice guy. That is not the rule at our games. Please be a nice guy at our games.
They have rules that are kind of just... It's not hard and fast. It's just sort of, yeah, don't do that, because that wouldn't be cool. But then there's no real way to enforce it or not enforce it. You can talk to people and say, oh, well, that's kind of, yeah, we don't do that, and let them know. But it's so easy to abuse or just feign ignorance, where when things are really hard and fast, you're just like, okay, this is the rule. Mm-hmm. You go here and you respawn. That way everybody has the same thing. It's not, oh, well, I'll just say I was only shot twice. No one will remember. Oh, I can just respawn over here and be like, well, there was no one here when I started respawning, and then people came this way, so now I shot you because I'm back in.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying those rules are necessarily bad. If they're your thing, that's cool. It's just not how we do it. But whatever your rules are, go over them as if people have never heard of them. Don't be like, oh yeah, it's this rule. Cool, I don't know what that means.
Josh mentioned at the beginning to keep rules simple.
Yes.
By no means do we mean keep rules vague.
Exactly.
So keep them simple so people can understand them, but do not leave them open to interpretation, because people will interpret stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, obviously, the most easy one can be is count to 15. Cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15.
Yep.
Like, everyone counted in elementary school when they were playing hide and seek. Like, people will do that. So when we're going through rules, like, okay, it's very simple. Count to 30 for your respawn. And you're counting 1 1,000s, 2 1,000s. Please don't be that guy who counts super fast. I always say that.
Yep.
Whenever I go over the rules for respawning, because it's a simple thing. It's a simple rule, but be specific where you can. If you leave it up to interpretation, people will always abuse it.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
And it's not because they're bad people. It's kind of like, hey, if I can if it's technically allowed, then I'm not being a bad person by doing it.
Right.
That's what it broke down to.
Yeah, we just, we try to have everything as clean cut as possible so that things will run smooth. And there is very minimal administration needed by us. Mm-hmm. We don't want to have to be reffing full time and not playing. We started
I love Nerf.
this,
I want to play.
Yeah, if it ever got to the point where we were reffing more than we were playing, we would just stop hosting games because it'd be no fun for us. Mm-hmm. And I assume that if you have the drive and the passion and you enjoy Nerf, that's what you want to do too. You don't want to be sitting there like, I want to be the referee and I want to make sure everybody plays by the rules. Like, I want that to happen, but I want to be able to for them to basically regulate themselves. I want other players to be able to say, like, mm-hmm. yeah, this happened or this didn't, and see each other and correct each other on things. And if I see it on field, I can correct it. But really, there's a ruling that's already there, so it's not mm-hmm. open for interpretation where, oh, that person might be not breaking the rules. I don't know. Yeah. Technically, it's not. I could ask an admin, but I don't want to, like, start something. Like, mm-hmm. no. It's just cut and dry. This is how it is.
Yeah.
And there you go.
It should be clear enough where everyone on the field can say, hey, that's right or that's wrong.
Exactly.
And I mean, sometimes Josh and I do have to get involved too. I mean, another thing we emphasize too, once again, trying to keep the community clean and friendly, is if there are problems with other players, if you feel like there's rule sharking or rules breaking going on, come talk to us first.
Right.
That way we can deal with it in private. I always feel bad when in the middle of the game there's a shouting match or something going wrong because players disagree about how something should work. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's just simple honor system stuff like, I shot you, no you didn't, yes you did, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Or sometimes it's other stuff like we're unclear on the rules. Mm-hmm. We're always willing to go and solve those disputes. If you are an event organizer, you have to understand you're going to have to step up at certain points and be like, okay, as the event organizer, this is how I say this is going to work. Don't be a jerk about it by any means, but just know that sometimes what people need is not a, well, technically it's this, but also technically I guess you're right too. So I guess you're both right. We don't really have an answer. Sometimes in the middle of the game, it's like, we're going to play it this way today.
Yeah.
We will talk about it later, but this is going to be the rule for the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. If you can give out a quick, decisive decision, people listen, people follow it, they'll spread it along. It works out well.
Exactly. And then that's something that, you might want to talk about later in like a roundtable discussion. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I know this was an issue in the game. What do you guys think as a whole, as a group, so that you can all sort of come to terms with a ruling and why that ruling exists. Because, like, obviously we had a problem with it, so it's something we need to address. Why do you think it should be A or B or whatever? And then all of your players can come to a consensus, and you know what I mean? Maybe not everybody's going to like it, but you try to be as fair as possible and balanced as possible. And then once you make the rule, that's it. You can always change things. You can say, well, this game, you know, let's do this next game. This is how I'm going to rule it. And it doesn't work out the way you wanted it. And then you say, well, you know, we're not going to do that. It's like the Den Men Tell No Tales rule that me and Shawn had for lots of games, actually.
For 90% of the games, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it's only been the past 4 games we haven't had it. The Dead Men Tell No Tales rule is basically if you're dead, you can't give out information.
Right.
You can't be like, I was killed defending our flag and there's 3 people over there. The idea is you're dead, you can't talk.
Right.
It's an idea we liked because, hey, it's another punishment for being dead.
Right.
However, in the heat of the moment, people are running back. Other people go, what happened? You would seem to be like, they got the flag. Oh, I wasn't supposed to tell you that. And it's like, well, how do we solve that? We can't really punish you for it.
We can't even be like, oh, well, now you have to call yourself out because you broke a rule. Like, well, you're already out.
Yeah. So it got to a point where it's like, you know, for the flow of battle and just to ease everything up and to have one less thing people have to pay attention to, dead people can talk.
Yeah, and
We'll
it
do
actually
that.
ended up working out really well because I feel like it promotes more synergy, more team communication. And if you really think of it as a sport, you want as many people being able to relay information to each other as possible at any given time. So it works well.
The better your team is willing to work together, the more you deserve to win, in my opinion. So it's rewarding good behavior.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, instead of punishing the player, originally it was supposed to be kind of like, I hate using the word punish, but that's, in my head, what it is. Like, hey, if you died, then, hey, you're at a disadvantage for being dead.
Right.
But instead of it being like it's on the player, don't let the player's action affect the whole team, especially when there's various skill sets.
Yeah.
If they're dead, hey, if they want to communicate and be useful that way, then by all means, give them something to be empowered by.
Yeah.
Take
and
it.
it definitely, again, helps out with communication and new players because then they'll see people coming back and hear like, oh, we need defense now because our push didn't make it. And they'll start to get the hang of, oh, if I see 3 or 4 people coming back, blasters in the air, that means they all died. I don't even need to hear them say that we need defense. I'm going to go over to the flag and start defending because I see them all coming back, and there we go. You know what I mean? I'm able to assess the situation better because of that.
Yep.
So,
If people learn during the games, that's always great.
Oh,
like
definitely.
I love seeing a player come back game 2 and they don't need their handheld at all.
Oh, for
they
sure.
know immediately what to do. There's this one player, it was his 3rd time coming today, and he came like once last season, once this season. Came in today, didn't even need to tell him to do anything. He's just like, this is my blaster, I'm going to run around and shoot people. And he knew where to capitalize, and he communicated extremely well. And I'm like, cool. It's great to see someone basically that anyone else coming looking at this would figure would be a seasoned player, and it's only his 3rd or 4th trip out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that happens all the time in our games where people are just, you're a noob, but honestly, it doesn't take long to get into the swing of things, especially when you're playing with, like we said, stock ammo, and we're really clear and concise about rules. And you play the same thing. It's not like every week we're playing a different game. We try to keep the same stuff in, and we keep going because we find what people like, and we do that. And we'll only play 2 game types usually, maybe 3 throughout a day.
Yeah,
and
please
that's
your
what we play
people.
every time.
Please your players. I mean, that's a big part of it. Like, this is turning into a discussion really about running wars instead of actually participating and playing in them. But
Right.
for the most part, when you're playing, if you're not having fun doing something, then just stop.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the easiest solution. Don't try and force it and try and figure it out. Just be like, okay, we're just not going to do this. Let's do something else.
Yeah, I mean, we've had game types that have failed like that, and we've talked about it on the podcast before, but you have to be having fun because you're the one running this and you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into it. So if all of the players want to do something completely different than what you're doing, by no means should you be forced to run events just so they can have fun. Be like, oh, you know what? That's really not what I'm here to do. That's not what I want this to be about. If you guys want to take the initiative and run your own stuff, maybe you'll go to their things and find out you end up liking it a lot more than you thought. But initially, you have to do things for you. But you do have to there has to be that give and take there where you have to please people to a degree. So, is just think about that. Think about what keeps you coming back and what will keep other people coming back to your games. It is.
I agree.
We both agree. This is what you should do.
Yes. We agree. This is the way we run games. Yes.
Yes. It's good we agree on how we run games, Shawn. If we didn't, we would...
Someone comes to tell us, like, we run games. First, we give everyone a laser tag blaster. Wait, what?
then we shoot them
Yes.
with Nerf darts.
Yes. Like, I think my blaster's jammed. No, I can hear it going off.
No, it sounds like
You're doing it. Just
Oh
keep...
no, I dodged that one. Yeah. Oh, you couldn't see it. Yeah. Oh, I picked up the dart. It's funny because we were gonna segue into a bunch of other stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's come out recently. I mean, the whole Rebel line is actually out. There's a ton of Zombie Strike stuff out. There's accessories that have come out.
Yeah, screw that.
Well, that didn't happen. You should instead buy a Hammer Shot.
Buy a Hammer Shot.
Out of all the things that have come out, that's all you need to know is buy a Hammer Shot or a Sweet Revenge.
Hammer Shot should be... it's hard because I still love the Alpha Trooper so much. But
I do love the Alpha Trooper.
I want to... you know what? I'll just go ahead and say it. If you are new into Nerf, get a Hammer Shot. I mean, that is the easiest thing because you don't need any gear for extra magazines. You don't have to buy extra magazines.
I will agree with that. If you 100% are just coming into Nerf and you think it sounds fun or you play... Buy the Hammer Shot. You can do so much with it. Even if, like, you go to wars, you can use it as a primary. You just have to reload more. Mm-hmm. You can use it for, like we said, duels. You can target practice at home. You don't need a bunch of extra stuff to
They
carry.
accept all darts, so you don't have to have the Elite Streamlines. You can have stickers. You can have taggers.
Yeah.
You can... I've seen other brand darts working there even, too. So you can use pretty much anything. It's versatile. It's good to use. And if you want, you graduate up into the Alpha Trooper. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's the absolute right progression, but that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, if
it
you
seems
want
like
to
the
go
natural
to a clip
next step.
system blaster, you're probably going to want something to carry extra clips in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're going to want to sort of start building a loadout for it. With the Hammer Shot, you can run around with the Hammer Shot. The only thing that I would say you might want to invest in is a bag to put darts in, so you can have darts on you instead of necessarily needing to pick them up on field.
And that can be literally anything. I have a special military drop pouch that I use, but you know what? I don't have to if I want to go in with a fanny pack, with cargo pants.
I've seen people actually use, like, the 6-round magazines that a lot of people don't use in a pocket and take the dart out of the magazine as it advances and just put them into the Hammer Shot. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Carrying darts is relatively easy. You can put them in your pocket. If you don't have a bag or you're wearing something that doesn't have pockets, you can always just pick them up off the field and just play. So it is really versatile as far as that goes. And then you can, if you want to try out other blasters, you'll have the opportunity to do that at games with your friends, hopefully. And then you'll be able to decide what you like, if it's the Retaliator or Rampage, if it's an Alpha Trooper, if it's this, it's that. But a Sweet Revenge and or a Hammer Shot, I'm not going to promote one more than the other. I bought a Hammer Shot first. I like the weight on a Hammer Shot because the weight distribution is a little bit different on the Sweet Revenge. That's just because I also custom built a holster.
Josh does this a lot.
Or I custom built
He
holsters?
makes all the... No, you make all the awesome stuff for Nerf.
Oh, I try. I mean,
I just come up with the
leather
names.
holster, and I was like, oh, the Sweet Revenge has a holster already.
Yeah,
it's cool, and it's a cool holster. I wanted mine to be a little bit more sturdy
and personalized,
and
awesome.
I run and will move a lot, and I was just kind of worried about it falling out of the Sweet Revenge holster. But after I kind of got my hands on one, I don't really have that qualm anymore. But again, I like the weight on the Hammer Shot. I like spinning it around, putting it in my holster, stuff like that. But by no means should you be limited to one or the other.
Yeah. If you are a new player and want more accessories, I would say the Sweet Revenge is good for that.
Right. If
you are planning just going in nice and simple, nothing too fancy, then Hammer Shot works for that too. Both. Yeah. I would say you are not making a mistake choosing one or over the other.
I would agree. If you're planning on going big and you want to buy an entire loadout, like you're going to go and you're going to get a vest or something, some way to hold extra magazines, and you're going to buy an Alpha Trooper or something clip system, and you're going to get a secondary, I might lean towards the Sweet Revenge because it comes with that holster. Unless you plan on finding a holster that fits the Hammer Shot, which isn't it's not. There
it's
there
not
are
undoable. There's a mod out there.
There are there's even some holsters that are just large enough to do it. They're just, I think, paintball, and they're not as readily available as holsters for real firearms.
Or what you do is you buy a deploy.
Or you buy a deploy.
Open it up, take the shell for part of it, and it fits the Hammer Shot perfectly.
Yeah, it's pretty
and
nice.
A couple other blasters, too. It'll fit the... What else? There was...
Strong Arm will fit in there.
Strong Arm will fit in there, and then the Spectre will also fit in there, I believe, too.
think I don't even remember.
It fit, but the thing is, BFU, he had some extra padding in his to hold it in place to give it a little bit more snugness. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you can always vary that. But naturally...
Or, if you're one of those creative types and you want to make your own holster out of duct tape and cardboard and stuff like that, I mean, go for it, man. Mm-hmm. Or add on duct tape and cardboard to the already existing holster that the Sweet Revenge comes in. Go buck wild. Go buck wild, man. I like it. I like seeing people make stuff for Nerf. Mm-hmm. Fill those needs.
I feel ya. Anywho, I think we've yammered on enough pretty much at this point.
Yeah, we've talked these guys' ears off at this point.
So a couple more points before we head out for the day is BayAreaNerf.com. We always have new events going up on there. We have a calendar where you can check out what events are going on in the Bay Area. Mm-hmm. There's a couple games going on right now, so definitely check out the website for that.
Yep, check out the website. We've got the calendar up. We've got events that we do, other things that are going on.
And also the URL for our photos for the events. Can you list it off real quick, Josh?
The URL for photos?
Yeah. If anyone wants to check out photos from our games and just see kind of what they look like.
If you go under BayAreaNerf.com and you click on Burn, the Burn section will lead you to the Burn Bay Area Urban Recreational Nerf website that we run all of our games under, and that has links to all of them. It's like sherifaf.smugmug.com, I think.
That's it, yep. I want to see if you remembered.
There's like a / Bay Area Nerf. And there's a Nerf section. You can find it.
Yeah.
It's basically the only thing up under there.
Yeah. If you want to check that out, I mean, we also have our YouTube channel, Bay Area Nerf. This is the name of it, so you can go youtube.com/Bay Area Nerf. Check out the latest videos we have up there. We're trying to upload more videos more and more.
Yeah.
Just to get more content out there for you guys. On this video here, if there's anything you notice that works in wars as a new player, if there's something you wish that your event organizers would do, as an event organizer, if you have any specific questions you want to know about running wars, I feel like Josh and I get pinged a lot asking, how do you run a Nerf war? And it's not an easy answer.
Right.
But if you want to go in with specific questions, like what do you guys do for this situation? How do you guys handle this specific situation? Right. By all means, reach out. We'll answer you. We'll give you a response. If it's a detailed enough topic, we'll talk about it on the podcast. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, you can email us, Twitter, Facebook. We've got a bajillion ways to get a hold of us.
Yep.
So, other than that, I think we're it.
We're copacetic.
Copacetic. Rate, comment, subscribe, and buy a hammer shot.
I'm just letting Josh say all the catchphrases so I don't get in trouble for them anymore. It's just easier. But anywho, from everyone here at Bay Area Nerf, this is Shawn.
And this is Josh.
Happy tagging.